Hi everyone, I'm Allie with Potomac Beads, and in today's Better Beader, we're going to go over different gemstones and the birth month that associated with that birthstone. So there's a number of different questions what to use, and it depends on what product you're using. I actually have on my kids' birthstones with their little initials, with those little alphabet charms, and I have just a single birthstone of all of my different kids with it. Many times you'll know your birthstone. Don't ask a guy, usually they won't know, but most women will know their birthstone, and they'll have some piece of jewelry that has something to do with it. As it comes time to giving gifts for Valentine's Day or Mother's Day, I thought this would be a nice Better Beader episode to do so you're aware of your options for using birthstones in making your jewelry. Keep in mind when you're doing jewelry and when you're making jewelry, think outside of the box. You don't need a turquoise necklace if you're December or a garnet necklace if you're January. You can make something, whether or not it's a bead weaving piece or a simple stringing piece or even something really simple that uses that color necessarily and that gemstone, but in a different way and a different design. So don't think that you need to do basic stringing or pearl knotting or anything like that to be very traditional. Go outside of the box, look at different patterns, and really what I want to show you today is that a lot of times gemstones are more about the color rather than the actual material. When you're thinking about gemstones, many times you're going to think about the actual gemstones. There's also the chance to use Swarovski crystals. A lot of designs will suggest and use Swarovski crystals. So if you're a January birthday, you may know you're a garnet. So when you look at the actual Swarovski crystal, in it, the garnet is really dark. It's almost a really dark red. So it's a blood red, very dark red. I have some natural garnet here just so you can see that it can come in a little bit more lighter variety. I actually prefer the lighter. Birthstones also come in a modern as well as an ancient birthstone. The moderns tend to be higher gemstones and jewels, whereas the actual ancient go more into gemstones and have more variety with them. When it comes to January, you're garnet. No matter whether or not you're looking traditional or ancient, those are all garnet when it comes to January. Look at that nice dark kind of ruby intense color, and even going lighter into the wine colors to get that ruby color. Or that garnet color rather, I should say. February then goes into amethyst, and just like January, amethyst is the color for February, both in the modern as well as the ancient. So I have some amethyst rounds here, and then just to show you kind of the amethyst in the Swarovski crystal, which is again going to be a little bit darker. This is a satin amethyst, so it has a little bit of kind of that satiny color. And keep in mind, like I was saying, when you're making jewelry and think outside of the box. So you don't need to necessarily just string the amethyst. You could take an amethyst piece of an actual setting, one of these little amethyst oval links, put that in the middle of some chain, or even attach it to the amethyst as well to do that nice purple kind of birthstone of the month, that nice amethyst color. When you get into March, we get some variety, so we have some aquamarine as well as some bloodstone. Aquamarine you're going to be familiar with, that it has that nice bright blue color. And the aquamarine kind of can go in different tones of blue and different brighter blues. When you come to bloodstone, it's actually a green stone with some red striations going through it. So those two different ones are going to be your March. April, you're back to the beginning, just like the amethyst and the garnet, that when it comes to April, you're going diamond. So the diamond I brought, just so you could see it, I didn't bring back the Swarovski in actual diamond. I have a little bit of an off color there with the shadow crystal. But in Swarovski, if you're doing a simple mother's bracelet with initials, the diamond is actually going to be the crystal color. I like the rough cut and the rough look of the diamond, or you can do some quartz. Some people will even use moonstone in addition to diamond for the April birthstones. I have some moonstone here, some beautiful moonstone, which has that nice kind of blue cast to it as well. So that's going to be your April birthday as well. And I actually have an April birthday on here because I've got one of those in my family. Going on then, May is back to that same, going from the modern to the ancient, and that is the emerald color. So emerald, when you think of it, you think of dark green, very traditional color in the emerald. And again, if you want to kind of think outside the box, you can think about some of the different cabochons or rivolis in those color and make a setting and make a pendant that goes along with it. You can also look at the Oz pendant, which I used a nice emerald color in that, and that could be a great pendant for you if you want to make something for somebody that has that May birthstone. So don't think just bicones or just Swarovskis or just simple stringing. Think about pendants and weaving designs as well. Going right along then, we have June. I have a June, and June is alexandrite. So when you're looking at June, alexandrite is one of those kind of funky ones. That June is usually alexandrite in the modern. In the traditional, it's pearl. So my first child was a girl, and her birthstone was pearl. So I have just a simple pearl necklace that I had made. I have a pearl on here. I like to mix the look of the gemstones with the pearls, and I love pearls, so I usually mix those together. So I have a single pearl here, just an idea, have it on a nice knotted necklace there. The alexandrite is going to be a purplish kind of blue color. Sometimes depending on the light, it will cast to different colors. In addition to that, sometimes you'll see a light rose used in place for that June birthday. In addition to June then, next is going to be July. July is ruby through and through. So ruby, again, is going to be kind of a lighter garnet when you're looking at the color. And most of the time, you're not going to see ruby in beads because it's a higher end gemstone. So again, kind of think outside the box that if you want to, you can get another kind of navette in that ruby color. You can go for a garnet if you're just going for the color. And especially if you have a lighter tone like this, nobody's going to know the difference when you're looking at the ruby versus the garnet. Moving on then to August, we have peridot, which is going to be the traditional. So I have the peridot color in the Swarovski crystal, as well as this beautiful peridot strand right here. So the peridot has that nice facet to it, that nice cut to it, and it's kind of that funky lime green color. When you're looking at the peridot color, it looks great with a lot of the other birthstones, and it's kind of whether or not you are doing mother's jewelry or something like that, think about what the birthstones are going to look like together. So when you're looking at a series of 4 kids, 3 kids, 2 kids, is it going to look really pretty and have a lot of those jewel tones? Is it going to look patriotic and have kind of garnet and moonstone or pearl and sapphire? So keep that in mind as you're creating the jewelry as well. In addition to that, we have sardonyx, which sardonyx is actually going to be an orange stone that looks a little bit like carnelian. Sometimes it's also a black sardonyx. So the ancient gives you kind of that option when it comes to August. Sapphire is for September. That's actually my birthstone, nice bright kind of blue color. And again, if you want to do something in the natural gemstone and you don't want the sapphire, think about a lapis or a dark blue color to get you that sapphire look without a huge sapphire price tag as well. And again, think about those in some of the links or some of the bezels. I also have an aqua here going back a couple steps to March. You can look at some of those different bezels and those different beads as well to fill in the gaps with those. In addition to September, next comes October, and it's tourmaline or opal. So I brought back kind of that opal color so that you could see. Generally speaking, opal, moonstone, and then tourmaline often comes in a rainbow color. And generally when I'm looking at the actual October, you're going to get kind of that pink tourmaline color used a lot in the Swarovski crystal. Other than that, you're going to see a lot of opal. And the opal has that iridescence. That's why, again, the moonstone is used a lot in place of actual opals. October, again, is kind of one of those that sometimes it's different colors. Sometimes it's the pink, says Swarovski. Sometimes it's the opal color as well. I like the opal with it, and I like the look of the opal with the other gemstones as well. November has topaz or citrine. So I have some topaz here in the Swarovski crystals. It's more of a muddy yellow, muddy brown. And then also some citrine here along with some amethyst. Some of the gemstone strands that we have, if you are looking to do some mother's bracelets, have a nice variety on them. So there's mixed gemstone strands that are going to allow you to have those varieties all together and in one. So check that out as well. Finishing up then, in addition, we've got December. So finishing out and rolling out, we have December in the blue zircon. And then also we have turquoise sitting here and lapis. So the December is going to be a nice blue tone. I actually have a piece of turquoise on my necklace for my December birthday, which is my son. And we use the blue topaz or the turquoise. I like the traditional, and I tend to shift more towards the ancient rather than the actual modern when looking at the different ones that we're using. Keep in mind, again, like I said, you don't need to think super traditional. Originally, my first child, I just took one single pearl and knotted it onto an actual cording here and wore it a ton. In addition to that, I have my letters that I wear a lot. And then also I did a necklace on a modern, I called it a modern mother's necklace, that it's not so kind of kids hanging with birthstones on it. I did the birthstones for each of my kids, and I have the colors of the birthstones here in their actual piece with some chatons. So check out again some of the different videos, like the Oz video is going to give you that pendant in the middle, many videos on Rivolis and coating and covering those, and that's going to give you the alternative to take the whole idea of the gemstones and the actual crystals and make the birthstone jewelry actually be something kind of from the heart. If you know that somebody that you're making this for, or if you're making it for yourself, keep in mind to do it in their style. That gives you a lot of flexibility whether or not you're going to use crystals or natural gemstones, whether or not you're going to mix it together, make something full on that color, or just like the simple piece that I wear, have one little tiny birthstone in between each of the letters of my children as well. So when it comes to birthstone, it really is a personalized item. You can go in and add letters to it. You can make mother's bracelets. You can make something for yourself or something as a gift. It's always a nice idea when somebody has a new baby, you can gift them something with that birthstone as well. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a ring or a pair of earrings. Have fun creating and making the jewelry yourself. Remember, with these Better Beader episodes, the idea is to make you a better beader. These things are helpful and not necessarily in most of the other YouTube videos, but if you haven't checked out the other episodes, check them out as well. These are building, and really I think that if you watch from the beginning, they're kind of a step-to-step tutorial teaching you the different fundamentals and the different things that are great to know to make you a better beater. If you want to, remember you can always subscribe to this YouTube channel. Right below me, there's a little subscribe button and a like button as well. Go ahead and click that, and also comment below. I love ideas for the better beaters. I love to see what people use, because there's also a whole nother line of birthstones for the Indian culture and kind of birthstones for the different signs and all of that as well. So check that out below, comment below, and say what your birthstone is and which one you would actually use when you make jewelry for yours as well. As with always, thank you so much for watching. If you need any materials, check us out at PotomacBeads.com as well as PotomacBeads.eu. Enjoy your beads. Again, hopefully this made you a better beater.